If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question: what did you do to lose your extreme shyness and social awkwardness? This workbook aims to help you too. If you have ticked a number of these boxes, you may be experiencing symptoms of social anxiety. However, don't be alarmed. This is very common and there are things you can do to help. You will find some useful strategies in this workbook. Good place to learn how to overcome shyness. Socially anxious people often feel under the spotlight and believe that everyone is thinking badly of them. They often hold beliefs that they are no good socially, are boring, and that they have nothing interesting to contribute. After social events, they tend to pick out parts that they believe went poorly and beat themselves up over them. To cope with social anxiety, people tend to avoid social situations if possible, e.g., pubs, canteens, queues, etc. If they can't avoid them, they tend to try and stay in the background and attract as little attention to themselves as possible, e.g., say very little. Unhelpful thoughts also typically play a damaging role just prior to people entering social environments, as they predict they will perform poorly, e.g., I'll have nothing to say. Similarly, unhelpful thoughts influence people during social situations, e.g., I'm making a fool of myself, as they assume they are not coming across well. To make matters worse, after social situations, people often analyze their performance and assume they have performed poorly. When considering these factors, it is easy to see how unhelpful thoughts stop people overcoming their social anxiety. This is because by avoiding social situations, people stop themselves having positive experiences that could disprove some of their unhelpful thoughts. Furthermore, the longer someone avoids a social situation, the more daunting it becomes and it is increasingly difficult to face. A final point worth noting is that safety behaviors can result in what is known as self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, by staying quiet in social situations, people may come across as distant and others may respond by making less of an effort. As a result, their beliefs that they can't mix well remain in place. The following section will help you begin to recognize if you are thinking about things in an unhelpful or unrealistic way, and discuss how you can start to make changes to this. By doing so, you can learn to see things in a more realistic light, which can help to reduce your social anxiety. You might have unhelpful thoughts about all kinds of things. Here are some examples. Once you have asked yourself these questions, you should read through your answers. Try to come up with a more balanced or rational view. For example, although we do this in the hope being reassured that we are not visibly anxious, this strategy actually just makes things much worse. This is because we tend to overestimate how visible our anxiety is, and this of course makes us feel even more self-conscious. Also, by focusing on ourselves, we are prevented from fully concentrating on the conversations around us. This naturally makes it more difficult to join in properly, and we usually end up interacting less well than we could. This typically strengthens our beliefs that we are no good in such situations. The reality is that anxiety is a lot less visible than we think. Often we have no idea if someone is anxious or not, and it can help to remember this. Similarly, when we feel socially anxious, we tend to spend time monitoring how well we are performing during social interactions. This too prevents us from paying proper attention to the conversations we are engaged in. For example, we may spend time trying to figure out if our voice sounds shaky, or go over and over the things we have said in our minds. Again, by doing so, we end up finding it hard to follow conversations, which likely makes us perform worse. Given all of this, it is helpful to try to remove this tendency to focus on ourselves. Below you will find tips designed to help you during social interactions. Find more answers and a free audiobook on how to talk to anyone in the description below. No useless advice like just get out there, I mean actual useful advice from people who have really dealt with shyness and social anxiety and overcome it in their own lives.